This is crazy that I missed out on this dynamic between you two because I kind of swanned in so late after your passing, and I feel like
Like a vulture.
it's such a gift to
You
get
missed
to
the
experience
party,
this in
Liam.
real
You
life.
missed the
Yeah, I really
party.
did.
You got stuck with just him, and that's unfortunate.
I'm Lee Maguire, and Bin Night with Tack and Matty is better than I ever could have imagined. Is that right?
Make it sound like we asked you to say that. G'day, g'day, g'day.
G'day, g'day, g'day.
And welcome to Bin Night with Tack and Matter. Hey, I've got something for you, Matty, because I did film an episode of Play School yesterday, so I've got a bit of a Play School mode on for you. So I wanted to do this.
If you're happy
hello.
and you know it, clap your hands.
No, shut up! I'm doing a thing. I'm doing a thing. We never We never do that. That's not a Play School song. God,
That's every.
you should be watching it more, Matthew.
Okay.
Anyway, hello, I'm Takaya, and today we are in the podcast studio recording a podcast. And now you got to go. Oh, hi, and I'm Matthew.
Hey, g'day, kids. I am Matty. Welcome to the podcast. Is that going to scare kids away? Hey, that's like the Bluey Dad. You've got a 1-year-old. We've got a 1-year-old too, but we've also got kids that are a bit older, and play school to them is extremely uncool. Not Play School in particular, but shows that are
middle
made
one
for...
is like your middle one is prime Play School audience. So I feel like that's a parenting issue. You should have.
He has his look. They love Pulp Fiction. Okay, they love Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, like the whole lot. I can't help that. I did get in trouble for letting him watch. Our 5-year-old's obsessed with Venom. I don't know. Because of the toys, I think the Venom character.
Spider-Man. Then he would have seen Venom, and then because he'd never even Spider-Man one time.
That's right. Yeah, and he'd never seen the film or anything. And one day I was like, yeah, sure, you can see it. And Jess was
it's like a dark version.
And he's like, what are you doing? But it's actually, if you really watch it, Venom is actually he looks terrifying. He looks so scary, but he's actually quite funny, humorous. It's not horrific as much as like, I don't know, like there's some other films.
It's not like The Dark Knight, but it's still the darker side of Marvel.
Right. We're in the car and I saw, there's a Venom audio book. You can listen to that. So I went to play it.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, it's an audio book. How bad can it be? It's about a cartoon character. And then it starts by saying, it was 3 a.m. in the morning. There was prostitutes lining the streets. I was like, cut. It's like, why can't we listen to that, Daddy?
Yeah. What's a prostitute, Daddy? All right, Matty, I've got something for you. I asked the YouTube audience, and that post is still there for anyone who wants to join on, 4 questions that they want us to ask each other. Megan Smith's, it's not really a question, it's more of a game, which I liked. That's why it stood out to me. And it's a version of F word, marry, kill. Not that we don't swear on this podcast, but just feels more intense to say it. But it's called Pash, marry, hit with a ute, aka kill, but just for that Neighbours reference, because David got hit by a ute twice, and I was really hoping that his death would actually be caused by a ute, and they did a whole thing where this ute's been trying to kill me the entire 8 years or whatever that was on the show, right? But they didn't go for it. Instead, I had to save my brother, whatever. Anyway, so what Neighbours characters would you, Matthew, Pash, and it can't be David, right? We'll exclude each other for this. So Pash, marry, or hit with ute, aka kill, which is okay. We're not killing the actors; we're killing the characters.
That's it. What characters we would?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll start with Pash. I'd say the guy who played Rhett. What's his name again? Just our guest for this episode. We'll talk to him later. But I think he's all right. Perfect.
He's cool.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, this episode is going to be great.
Well, then who are you
marrying?
Huh?
Yep.
Who are you marrying?
Wait. So Pash, marry.
Yeah. So too bad you've already used Rhett. You can't use him again. And it's as you. It's not as Aaron, right? It's you. Which characters would you marry?
Well, Look, just for something different, I think if Aaron married Colton, played by Jacob Ambrose.
But it's not. It's
That-
Matty marrying somebody.
Oh, me.
It's not. It's you, yeah, not Aaron.
Ah,
You're talking
okay.
talking for yourself. Who you would
Yeah,
Pash, who
see.
you would marry, and who you would hit with
Okay.
a ute.
All right. Well, let's start again. Alan Fletcher, Pash. There we go. Only
I mean,
because
he's
we've
been
done it
around.
before.
He's been around a bit, so like you'll.
Oh, we've
no,
done
so
it
you're
before.
pashing Dr. Carl because he gets a lot of experience, right? He
Wait, are we talking about me or the characters, or the characters
we're
or me?
talking
Like, or
about
them, or what?
you.
Me,
You,
about
but
the
us
actors or the characters?
talking about the characters.
Yeah, okay.
So you,
okay,
Matthew,
all right,
talking
all right,
about
all
the
right, all right.
characters.
Okay, well, Dr. Carl would Pash,
Yep.
because I mean, we've been there. Marry, I think for the most drama-free life, you would want to marry Susan Kennedy.
Oh, you took my answer.
Sorry, you're gonna have to think of a new one. And hit with a ute, and it can't be you because that's too obvious. Who would I hit with a ute? Character, Matthew. Think of character. I would probably look. I would hit who'd Lloyd play again?
Sergeant Rodwell.
Andrew Rodwell. I'd hit Sergeant Rodwell because of what he did with Holly. I just to wake him up, not to kill him, just to wake him up. Yeah,
just to bring him very close to
look
death.
at
All
what
right,
Matt, sir.
I'll give you
Go
that.
on. Pash, marry, hit with you.
You took my Pash and marry, and so I've got to be different, otherwise that'd be boring. Yeah, you took Dr. Carr because he's there must be something to it because a lot of people were attracted to that Pash.
That's why.
Hit with the Utes, easy for me. Hit with the Utes, easy for me. Paul Robinson, that guy.
He deserves it.
He's had it coming a long time.
Yeah,
a long
it's not
long
going to do
time.
anything.
No, he'll survive. He will die and come back to life, and then continue to haunt me even though my character's dead and I'm no longer there. But anyway, whatever that is.
I mean, that's a ghost
so
as well.
I was trying to buy time for myself to figure out a marry and a Pash. Who would be marry? All right, Jane. Just because it would be so entertaining. I think life would be very entertaining with Jane.
Yeah. You know what? You well, it's Takaya we're talking about. Well, you are pretty clean as well. Jane's very formidable. Anyway, everything's in order as well. She's very clean.
Yeah, but she's quirky, and I feel like she's one of those ones who it's the quiet ones you have to watch. You know what I'm saying, here, Matthew? And then I would Pash. Ooh. You know what? I'm going to put Roxy out there.
There you go. I'm going to tell your wife.
Bit of fun. It's the character, Matthew. It's not the person. I love Zimmer.
Hold on. You said it was no. You said it was about you, Takaya.
It's me. It's me.
That's
Takaya.
right. Well, that's not. It doesn't matter. You're talking about anyway.
A character. Yeah. That's all right.
Thank you for that.
Nothing wrong with that. Just because I've seen one waterfall that was beautiful, Matthew, doesn't mean that I can't go and see another waterfall and consider that beautiful. But I may choose to keep going back to that other waterfall. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
I'm not a person, Matthew. This is revealing something about me. I'm not a person who thinks that when you meet the one, so to speak, or when I met Amy, that then suddenly I'm not experience, or she should or wouldn't experience any attraction to anybody else. I think, of course, you're still going to be attracted to things or people or whatever. It's just a matter of you make a choice to be with someone. You know.
Okay.
And I'm not going to do anything. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's an attractive person. In the same way that I can appreciate the effort and the work that goes into a male as well, and in how their physique is and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, kudos to you. You have a great body.
Okay.
Yeah.
I go bird watching. Yeah. Hey, I had a realization a couple of days ago, and I don't.
That's his wildlife work is bird watching.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, down on the main street of Noosa. When we were talking about pre-internet or early years internet stages and how you'd send memes via email and stuff like that, and we thought we were just having a chat, and I was talking about those porn star name generators or rap name generators and stuff. But remember, like, what was your how did you get your porn star name? Do you remember that little algorithm?
Well, something like your first pet pet's name and then the street you lived on or something, wasn't it? Something like
That's
that.
right. That's right. Well, what are your bank's secret questions for your password? What's your first pet's name and what street did you live on? This was just a phishing scam the whole time. And they're probably playing a long game because that answer is never going to change. All they have to do is scroll Facebook for 10, 15 years back to find everyone posting, my porn star name is this. All of a sudden, they got 2 questions. How many questions do they need to verify that it's you? 2. They have 2 of those questions done.
I'm on board with you with this, Matty, because I remember, because they don't really do those questions much anymore, I think. But I was always looking at those list of questions and I was like, there's a lot of things here people could know pretty easily. Like my close friends would know these answers.
Yeah, that's right.
This isn't a good secret question. Like,
yeah,
it should be something really,
Only
really random, not something that you could maybe Google.
Yeah. Who did you lose your virginity to? That's a little more well, yet to answer. That's yet to answer.
It's more like, how long was your first time? No one else would probably really know that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Or currently, are you sub 2 minutes?
Or as a callback to a past episode, are you circumcised?
Well, there you go. Everyone they think they're too clever for the phishing scams. We've been groomed all along to find out.
So Matt's just revealing that he's been hacked recently, I guess, and this is his excuse is, no, it was from my MySpace page. They took it from my MySpace page.
Last night I did get something saying, sorry you couldn't log into your Instagram account. Here's the link to reset it. And it was a proper one from Instagram. There's someone out there who wants to get that handle. Not my one.
Right. So someone was trying to log into your account and then they clicked forgot my password or something and you got the email.
Yeah, that's right. So there's people they're doing it. Or could be a computer. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I get a bunch of those things too. And I wonder, I'm always like, or maybe they don't. Well, no, I'm still wondering, like, what are they hoping? Obviously, I'm getting an email asking for this. Or maybe they do it so that you get some real ones and then they send a fake one, which looks like
maybe.
It. Yeah, maybe.
You can't tell the difference.
But look, Matty, I've been, I had to fly, over the last couple of weeks, been flying back and forth to Sydney to rehearse play school. I filmed yesterday. I've got filming another one on Tuesday next week. And one of the things that I have to experience when I'm doing that is taxis. Because it's an ABC, a government thing, they use taxis, which is fair enough. They give you a cab charge for me to get to the airport and from the airport to
cab
the ABC.
Cab charge is like a prepaid taxi card and whatever it is, you give that to the driver and companies will give you one of those.
Which back in the day was great because any taxi you got into, you could use. And I think they were incentivized to use it as well. But now, heaps of taxis don't accept them, which is quite annoying because then when I get off at the airport, I go, I've got to say, I need a cab charge. And I stand there for 5 minutes waiting for them to find a cab that will accept it. And then when I get in the cab, I go, they obviously know I'm using a cab charge because the person said he needs a cab charge. And then basically what happens most of the time is I have to make sure that they're following good directions because they know that I'm not paying for it. So then they quite often will go a very long way for no reason. And I know this trip is roughly $30, $40 generally, you know? And I've had that be as high for the same trip as 120 because I've got in and I've been preoccupied and I've like doing emails or whatever. And then I've looked up and gone, where the hell are we? Like I'm from Sydney. I'm filming in Sydney. So I go there. I'm like, wait, this is like a simple trip down one road to get to where I stay. And I've then called that driver out at that point and said, you know, this is the reason why people don't use taxis.
Oh, you did it. I'm sure he gets that every day, 5 times a day though.
Well, potentially. It's like, but you're killing your own industry. You're hurting yourself by doing this. And I get it. You're just trying to make money. I understand that. But in the long run, creating a great user experience, let's call it, customer experience, is what's going to generate your business. And on that
I
note,
know you
know
weren't
how
that
like
calm delivering that.
no, I actually kind of like. I mean, I was a bit more heated, let's say, but I wasn't aggressive or anything in any way. I was actually just trying to lay it out to him. Like, this is like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not. This isn't my money. It isn't. But this is the experience you're creating. And to make a side note, I had a driver from my house, my home to the airport, who gave me a great experience. And they're not supposed to, but he gave me his card and said, if you need anything, the cars are always of this certain quality. We make sure you're not going to get any cars that are smelly and that kind of stuff. Let me know. And I now text him every time to and from the airport. It's always a different driver, but the cars are always nice and clean and blah, blah, blah. But because I had a great experience, then I use them every time.
Yeah.
And they're never taking me some random way or whatever. And
that's what happens when I feel like that's what happens when you get a place that has a monopoly, right? Instead of going customers always right, that's the policy where a lot of good businesses run by. Once you have a monopoly, you don't have to do that. You can dictate whatever people watch. Like look at the networks. You got the same thing happening with Netflix versus the networks. The networks are going, this is what you're going to watch at this time. Whereas Netflix is like, no. The customer wants to choose what they want to watch, when they want to watch it, how they want to watch it, on whatever device they want to watch it. And which one has come out better off? The one that goes, customers are always right. And taxis are just not accepting that. And instead of like, I get furious about it. Instead of saying, okay, hey, these Uber services are getting really popular really fast. Maybe we should look at adapting. They try to go, no, let's change the laws. Let's try and tax them heavily. Let's try and get advantages at airports or whatever. Like trying to change the rules of the game so that they can still dominate instead of going, oh, no, actually, let's put the customer first for once. Oh.
Yeah. And
rare opinion.
As a contrary example to what I just said, I landed in Sydney and then need to get to my hotel. And again, I do this route quite a lot and I have quite recently. So I know exactly where they need to go. And I even said, just take this street. And I pull out my phone just to check the GPS and so that I know the traffic conditions as well. And he went past the one turn really, and then went past the next one that could have linked it, and then was going towards a tunnel, which spits me out the other side of the city and then has to come back through the city. And I was like, where are you going? I don't want to go through that part of the city. Like, just take me down this street. Yeah. And he then starts to give me reasoning as to why, because of cab charges, then they take a certain amount from them and stuff. So drivers have to, we have to try to figure out ways. I'm like, that's not my problem.
Apparently cab charge has been really bad with paying. Apparently they've been withholding payments for ages, which is really unfair on the taxi drivers. I get it.
I'm on board with the taxi driver in that place, but
you shouldn't have to sort that out.
But don't take it out on me,
No, that's right. Yeah.
Like I had a cab driver telling me, and he was great. I had a great chat with him, how with cab charge, he gets emails every month, like 3 or 4 times of different invoices that they've not paid properly. And he's like, we don't get paid when it's public holidays and stuff. They withhold money and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what, is there just one person there having to say yes or no to these invoices? And there must be a human behind it rather than it being an automated system, which you'd feel like it so easily could be. So then they're making mistakes constantly. So the taxis then hate it. So then the taxi services aren't using the cab charge, which then defeats the purpose of the cab charge in the first place. But it's all of the badness is falling on the user experience. And ultimately then pushing more and more people away from using the service, which is unfortunate.
We're going to have a big breath here. You ready? With me. In 3, 2, 1, in. And out. Okay, I needed you to do that because you may get riled up again when we talk to this next guest because
no,
he stole your boo when you weren't even there to defend yourself.
Well,
Liam Maguire, need no introduction. Are you circumcised?
You should already know that. Didn't you hop into bed with each other at some point?
No, we were waiting for marriage, weren't we?
Yeah, it was it was pretty conservative, I think. Yeah, we both already had kids, so why else would you have sex?
That's right.
But Liam, I do you know G Flip? I mean, G Flip came in. Were you there when they came on the show?
I wasn't in when they came in. I wasn't there.
Well, I went and saw their show on
Mm-hmm.
the weekend. It was fucking amazing. They also kind of premiered their saxophone playing. I think that's right, because they decided to learn saxophone.
Amazing,
and that's something that artists that I like a lot generally do is they continually add.
Is that the right space to be practicing though?
Well, they weren't practicing. They're obviously they weren't practicing the saxophone on stage. They obviously had worked out how to play it, but brought it into their live performance for the first time. Anyway, it's something that artists that generally like. They're constantly adding to their toolkit, their skill set.
Yes,
especially with musicians, they seem to do that a lot. Actors sometimes do that, but is there a skill that you are currently working on?
Wow, that's a great question. I should be working on more skills.
Or is there a skill that you would want to be working on? That we can check in a year from now and say, where's that skill at?
Can we give you some suggestions?
Please, yeah, I'd love some suggestions. Yeah, what do you think I need? Yeah.
Personality, one.
Yeah,
sense of humor.
Absolutely.
Could you put them in the same basket? Charisma.
Definitely. That could be helpful. Yeah, kind of. So just working on myself.
Maybe try some contacts to turn down those crystal blue eyes because they're a bit too effective.
That's right. So we softened the blow there with sort of a compliment, which is nice. I sort of padded that one in there. I should probably learn how to use technology. I think that would probably be a great skill for me, given the fact that I've already just broken half my iPhone in the process of this. So I feel like, I feel like.
Sorry to hear.
I feel like it'd be great for me to figure out how to do tech and maybe learn a language.
What language would you learn?
Oh, wow, it's really putting me on the spot. I feel like Italian's really
I
sexy.
feel like you're not gonna if you're gonna go. Well, I think it'd be good to learn a language. If you don't even know which language you might learn, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Just something sexy. What is the sexiest accent in the world? What do you think the sexiest accent in the world is? Not so much language. You could go that way, but
I think the sexiest accent is Irish.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Liam and I used to always chat about, because I've got no sense of style. I don't think I do anyway. And Liam and I would always chat.
He's milking compliments in the comments there, everyone.
Hey, what could I wear with this? I want to sort of do this. What can I? And you always had like, okay, shop at Venroy, go here, go do this. Did we shop at Venroy? Oh my goodness.
How'd you go?
Needed to apply for another mortgage. No, we you know what? I did what you said, and I had at least 2 people come up to me and say, "You look like Rhett."
Not public. Like Rhett, hopefully.
Yeah.
All I ever wore was those. Oh, actually, I shouldn't be dissing the clothes, but those real estate agent slip-on orange leather shoes. I feel like I would like to hope that I don't dress like Rhett. It's a bit of a used car salesman aesthetic.
Hey, look, David was a younger Dr. Carl, so trust me. Aaron seemed to be attracted to men maybe that didn't have the greatest style, I guess, perhaps because Aaron had a very.
He wanted to have
style.
the flair, which was just party shirts, really. I don't know.
Yeah, loud shirts.
The loud shirts. Yeah, that's right.
In terms of learning languages, you know what was really annoying for me growing up? We did Italian from year 3 to 6, and then same school.
Molto bene.
The high school of it, they didn't offer Italian anymore, and I really liked doing Italian. But you could do Latin. I was like, well, yeah, but I don't want to do Latin. I want to do Italian. That was really annoying.
You got to roll on. We did the same. We were learning Japanese, I think, and then we were getting so into it because we started to make some momentum, and then all of a sudden, they're like, no, now it's Mandarin. Then you're just like, well, there you go. It's all out the window.
What actually is learning Latin?
What's the point? Do you mean?
I mean, like what? Does that mean you can just speak it in day-to-day
So
life?
the point why they push learning Latin in high school, in a lot of time at private schools and things, is because it does help for
private school.
if you're going to become a lawyer or a doctor, because there's a lot of terminology for physiology and for laws and stuff that is Latin based.
I see. Yeah. Yes. Wow.
What's your name Latin for, Liam?
I think for...
Is that supposed to be a Latin accent in a...
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
An Italian Latin... I don't know how you say Latin with not sounding South American, but yeah. Liam.
This is crazy that I missed out on this dynamic between you two, because I kind of swanned in so late after your passing, and I feel like
a vulture.
It's such a gift to
you
get
missed
to
the party,
Liam.
You missed the party.
I really did.
You got stuck with just him, and that's unfortunate.
I know. I'm now seeing it was only one half of the dynamic.
Liam, you I think were you a writer and a professional writer prior to acting, or did acting come first?
I think acting did technically come first. I studied acting first, and then I went and
big boy. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
Oh God, that was woeful.
That was woeful. Yeah, this is the dad quality humor I've missed.
That was the vulgar dad coming out.
That was vulgar, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
It's crass.
Hey. Well, did you watch any of the Rhett, Aaron, Colton storylines? It was just in line with that, wasn't it?
I've said I didn't watch past my funeral. I haven't been able to bring myself to it.
Oh, it would have been very traumatizing. I feel like watching some of those yoga scenes, and I can't even imagine.
I thought you were talking about my death. No, yoga.
No, it's sort of watching Aaron in a vulgar love triangle. Some of the fans still send me images from those days. So
good.
It still haunts me. Yeah, I then studied writing, and that's probably mainly what I'm doing now. Is writing things more than an actor.
Are you writing anything that anyone else reads, or is it just for you?
Wow, what a read.
14 minutes in. Okay. He's got so many of these coming.
Really?
Just be ready.
Hey, look, this is the jealousy of David coming out, I think. So,
Christ. Came on here just to be roasted. Yes, some friends are reading it. Some of them are your friends, actually, who've commissioned me. So, but I'll tell you off air. I'd like to hope people are reading it. So hopefully, people are even acting in it. But
I was getting
obviously
not
you,
stuff,
so.
Right? Is that
you just ruined that chance? Yeah, they're actually about to hit casting stage.
They're
nice work
just in casting at the moment. We're looking for a young Dr. Carl.
Oh God, please don't put me in that position again. I turn it down. I don't want anything to be a part of it. No, so there's your script writing is what I was getting at.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Do you do any other form of writing, or you focus?
I don't know how to write anything else. What about you guys? Do you guys write? You strike me as writers.
We both have the capacity to write, I think. Maddie's working on something at the moment. And
that's like saying everyone can sing. Everyone's got a voice. Of course you can sing. You just
no. But I say that with knowledge of what writing is and what it is. I've studied filmmaking at uni, did some writing there. But it raises an interesting thing that I think about a lot, and I talk to people about a lot, in that, because for any actor, when they're out of work or they haven't booked something, the comment that you get a lot is, why don't you write your own thing or make your own thing? And it's like, yes, I have the capacity to do that, but doing that means that I am not an actor. I'm now having to become something else to give me a chance to go and be an actor, which of course is at this point something that becomes somewhat of a necessity. But I feel like there's few other careers where it's like, you want to be a doctor. Well, have you thought about setting up a hospital? There's not many other careers where they tell you, why haven't you done this other career?
It's a good point, though.
To do what you want to do. But
you could set up a hospital if you couldn't get the work. Like start with a medical center, just set your own up, right?
You could, but it's not something that that other careers are proposed,
Yeah.
So did writing come from an internal urge that you actually liked writing, or did you feel a necessity that if I want to do certain roles or whatever, I'm going to have to create those opportunities myself through writing?
No, I've never written anything for myself. I think it's definitely just come from me liking. It maybe came from me not liking what I was watching, and I'd like to be watching something better. But I don't think it came from me wanting to act in better roles or anything for myself. But making great things with fun people is just like the best thing in the world. So like it probably comes from that to an extent. And I had some of those experiences acting. Like Neighbours is fun. And so I guess, but yeah, it wasn't for me to act in.
I think that's because you're so humble. I think that's why.
What?
I think you're a brilliant actor, and you're writing this stuff going, yeah, me? No. Never. I think you're writing this stuff and going, oh, surely there's someone else out there that can do a better job. But you are brilliant, and you should absolutely be writing yourself into things. Or are you?
Great.
Now?
Let's keep this up.
Yeah.
Let's keep this. Maybe if we could just do this for another half hour, and I can just I'll leave keen to be in everything I write. That's kind of you to say, Matty. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed my Neighbours performance.
Well, going off the back of what Matty's just said, though, why haven't you written yourself into the things that you write, even in a small way? Like, is it from like a thing you think it feel egotistical to do that, or you don't want to muddy the waters in your head when you're writing something by romanticizing a role for yourself?
I think maybe both. I think if I was writing something with myself in mind, I think it'd sort of start to like toggle out a bit in terms of making the story work. Like I feel like it requires a completely different part of my brain if I kind of am considering myself doing any of it. So I feel like if the priority is the story and the story being good, then like bringing imagining myself into it kind of, I don't think I can do a good job of writing if I think like that. And then after the fact, I'm always so concerned about it being good that like, I think if I act in it, I'd be like taking my hand off the wheel because I couldn't watch it. You're like, because if you're working on something and you're like, that's bad. But like, if I'm acting in it, it requires immersing yourself in it so much that I couldn't be like, this is bad.
Well, I mean, the role of the actor, right, is to sometimes you get bad writing, but it's trying to make that
it work. Totally.
Whereas as a writer, you can look at it and go, no, I'm going to change the writing because the writing isn't working. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think like, yeah, maybe at one point I'll feel like I have enough confidence in my writing that I'm like, this is definitely going to be amazing and I can kind of do both things. But
is one like more at the forefront of your brain than the other, or are they just working at the same time?
I think writing's definitely at the forefront of my brain. Yeah.
Do you imagine like the future you, would you prefer to be known for your writing or acting, or does it not matter?
I think I prefer to be known for my writing. Yeah.
Interesting.
Acting's fun. I really enjoy it. But yeah, I probably am not as passionate about, I do really like it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess, do you know what it is? It's really hard to think about acting when you're not acting, and writing I can think about all the time. Like like when you're acting, and then otherwise it's like, what do you do? Talk about acting, which is not always that fun.
So you studied acting at WAPA, right? The Western Australian Academy of Performing Arts, which is famous partly because Hugh Jackman went there, but also has produced a multitude of great actors. It's one of the top schools in Australia for those who don't know. So you left there. Had you started writing really before then, or what sparked the writing?
I don't really know. I wrote a monologue. I remember it was like a rhymey kind of monologue at the end of third year. And I just remember that was like weirdly the thing that I got most compliments about. It was like the thing that stood out to me the most is people being like, I don't know, it felt the most substantial of like probably all the things that I did there, which was a lot and a lot of weird things. And so I think that kind of sparked something in me. Initially, it was like out of necessity for writing something, and then it just felt like one of the most kind of profound experiences. And then I think I did acting as a kid as well. I was in a kind of a couple of kids' TV things and stuff. So I sort of was around that stuff. And then maybe that is also maybe kind of being able to be around some of that stuff when I was younger. I was like, I just want to like be here and whatever that's going to take. And I want to be like part of the storytelling of this.
Like on set, do you mean when you say
yeah, because I was like on set and I was like in year 9 or something, and I suddenly had a full-time job for 3 months and would come back and people would be talking about like, you know, who they kissed on the weekend. I felt like I was up the back being like, oh guys, I've been working full time. I can't talk about this sort of trivial stuff anymore. I've really like outgrown being in year 9. I'm now like a professional working actor, and I feel like I've been around so many adults, and it's probably intolerable to be around as a kid.
Not just then.
Not just then, now as well, equally as painful. And fortunately, you weren't even on set with me. Like,
yeah, you may not have wanted to be on set anymore.
And so I feel like that desire to be making stuff has kind of always been there. And yeah, I did like a couple of little programs and wrote some things and stuff. And then eventually I went and did my master's. In playwriting. So I just kind of was there. Well, playwriting / script writing, you know. And then I was there for about a year, and that was kind of like great because what you're saying, I think, is also true. That idea of like also your identity and how you kind of see yourself as an actor. And there's definitely an element of kind of imposter syndrome when you're kind of first working on something, you're first learning Italian, etc. That I'm like, I feel like when you actually are like, oh, cool, I'm doing a course and now I'm considered a writer. I think that's also the same time sometimes with acting school, you know, like people sometimes go to acting school so they can leave to be like, I am an actor. And that level of confidence then makes them like feel like they can actually pursue something that has felt, you know, unreachable or unrealistic. And I feel like it's the same with writing. You know, like when you go in and study writing, you're like, oh, cool. Well, technically I've got some kind of stamp of approval that now I can like commit a lot of my life to this.
Absolutely. It's a real thing. Like at what point do you accept the fact that you are now that you are that profession? At what point are you a professional once you get paid? Geez, you did one sort of little McDonald's ad. Does that make you a professional actor? I don't know.
Totally. Someone once said, and I think I stand by this, I can't remember who it was, but they said, once you get cast in 3 things that have no relationship to your friends, then you can consider yourself an actor. And I actually was like, that's actually kind of reasonable. It was like, which is...
Yeah, it checks out.
Is that why you won't be in your own writing? Because you're like, well, it doesn't count.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count. I'm my closest friend. Yeah.
Actually, that's a beautiful thing to say. You should be your closest friend. I like that.
When you do the playwright course, the writing course, and you said it's screenplay as well. How much of it is playwright? How much of it is screenplay?
Well, it's kind of like, I guess they don't divvy it up as much. It's like writing for performance, and then you kind of, it's pretty like open. And then I guess screenplays is formatting. And so like you do some specific kind of stuff, but it's kind of like, it was pretty open-ended. It's like, how do you make 2 people talking to each other be interesting?
You know what? I like that. It's less prescriptive because like the idea of having art form in some sort of curriculum is kind of contradictory, right? And especially when you try and like award people on like, oh, you got an A+ in this, like who it's most subjective, right?
Totally.
So that's kind of good. I appreciate that. I mean, you can tell you've got a writer's brain because when we're hanging out, if we're on set or whatever, you're always having those like, imagine if this happened, imagine if that happened, imagine if like these scenarios, how could you put that onto a page or whatever? And they're always funny. They're always comedy. Has that always been your shtick?
Yeah, I think it probably has been. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I probably had an emo phase throughout high school, and then you sort of come out the other end
did
of
you go
being,
emo?
You know, like, yeah.
Did you get the hair,
like
the straightened hair?
I don't even know. Definitely like acoustic guitar and very skinny jeans, kind of.
From first to last?
It was more like Dashboard Confessionals. And sort of, probably a little softer.
Showing my age.
Very kind of
Hoobastank?
Yeah, they considered emo. Yeah.
Borderline.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't actually really know exactly where that comes from. I think I do I like there being a sense of humor to writing.
I think comedy's got to be one of the hardest things to try and pull off, right?
When we're doing the love triangle, I remember you specifically going, okay, we're going into comedy genre here, and oh, you're doing this, and then so kind of like it was like it felt you were like it was something that was so like a conscious kind of tone. I mean, it was a big tonal shift, to be fair, with Jake, and it was like I just remember you kind of like really observing how we're all handling that, and I suppose Neighbours also changes genres so much.
Yeah, you got to ride that way. Otherwise, it's just not gonna pull off, right? Like you got to lean into whatever they're going with. Yeah,
probably like Neighbours specifically from that point of view, people don't maybe recognize as much how much it shifts genres. And the skill of the actors within that to go with that genre, where you can go from heavy, dark stuff, from someone dying or whatever, to then pure slapstick comedy. And if you're staying as a dramatic actor within that stuff, it's not going to work. You've actually got to really step into that sitcom-y kind of vibe.
Yeah. One person in the scene isn't leaning it into it as much as everyone else is. All of a sudden, they're going to stand out. They're going to look like a bad actor, but they're absolutely not. It's just because they switch genres so much, like in theme, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that was I found that stuff so fun, and I feel like that was like some of the funnest stuff about Neighbours, was that you just kind of were ping ponging between this stuff. And you're right. I guess like the comedy stuff, like. It does require, I think the reason I like the comedy stuff so much is it feels really like alive between, like we were kind of lucky at that time that it was like the three of us. And so you're really like charged and playing off each other, which I guess you are in drama as well. But when there's kind of a level of like, because it's so like heightened, you kind of don't quite know what's going to happen, or it's already like, it feels kind of electric to me in a way.
It's a little more risky, I think.
Yeah, it feels risky. Yeah.
Well, because you're not in control of the punchline or the punchline's timing, because the editing can change things dramatically. Right. So you you really have to, in a show like Neighbours, where it's being edited that quickly as well, and it's edited for time so strictly that you kind of have to outlay so specifically to the editor how the jokes are being structured and the timing's going to work. And you've got to buy the pause. You've got to speed through some stuff so that you can earn that tiny pause that nails the joke. Because otherwise then it falls flat and everything looks kind of, it just becomes weird because the genre has shifted, but the comedy's not there. So what genre are you in when the comedy doesn't exist in the comedy genre part of the show? So that electricity kind of needs to be there. You want that because then hopefully everyone else feels that from the editor to then through to the audience, which obviously worked because there was a lot of talk about that throuple, sort of not throuple, but triangle, love triangle that you guys had.
Don't play it down.
I mean, it's funny. I think that probably had less to do with the comedy and more to do with the fact that it was three men potentially in a throuple, which they really, I mean, the media really pushed that. There was a lot of like, this is Neighbours' first trio gay sex relationship, and it was like, which it wasn't really. It was kind of nothing of the sort.
Oh, Tack. I have been working like a dog this week. My skin is just so dry. It's outrageous. What's going on with you? You're in Melbourne. How come your skin's glowing?
Well, I've got a secret. It's magic. It's Egyptian magic. You can use it on your face, your body, even as a hair treatment.
And where did you get this stuff from, this magic potion?
From our pals and sponsors at beautyboat.com. They sent you some as well, and for a limited time, our Bin Night audience gets 25% off Egyptian magic and their entire order by using the code BIN25.
Egyptian magic, huh? Oh. Wait a second. Did you say I can use this anywhere?
Well, yeah, but don't get weird. You can use Egyptian magic as a face moisturizer, an eye cream, scar treatment, hair mask, baby cream, shaving balm, and anything else you might think of. It's got beeswax, honey, bee pollen, royal jelly, propolis.
I'm going to stock up. So what do we do? Beautyboat.com. I put everything, add all into cart. Yes, that's going straight into my basket. And the code is
BIN25. That's spelled BIN25. You get 25% off your whole order.
You guys can browse the website as there are so many incredible products, including the signature discovery boxes. Ooh la la.
Thank you, beautyboat.com.
Thank you, beautyboat.com.
Beautyboat is our official beauty partner here at Bin Night with Tack and Matty.
Hey, Tack, is there such a thing as OnlyHands? What?
Liam was out the back writing these letters, PR statements to publications.
Yeah, I was doing my own press. Yeah.
And in that you were Liam.
Yeah, exactly. My Latin name.
Yeah, your Latin name.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of that. But I mean, it's hard to kind of, I mean, all of us have played queer roles on Neighbours as well. So it's hard to kind of like avoid also talking about the fact that like that stuff is always so meaningful. So I just, even the clips that they post on like the internet, I mean, so many people I think were engaging with it. I don't know how many of these people were necessarily even watching the show, but they would like find all these clips.
Yeah.
And, would message, and because of like representation, but also just like, I think that's just like something that some of those people specifically wanted to be seeing, and you don't see a lot of it. But yeah, I would like to hope that the humor was a part of it, but it is funny because you take some of these scenes in isolation. Like I remember one of that kind of boot camp scene when we're getting ready for Boylesque, and they got posted on YouTube, and people were going, "This is the worst porn acting I've ever seen in my life." And it was like, and it is so funny because we are kind of doing like, we're doing a tone. We're doing a tone, and like in isolation, they're like, "What is this?" And it's camp, and it was great. It was so funny, but
kudos to whoever wrote that comment. That's great.
This is the worst. It was very funny.
Yeah, is a porn acting good acting, or is a porn acting really bad acting? And it's hard to know.
How did you get that? How did you get that role for Rhett?
I had to. I actually auditioned for the role prior, your love interest prior, the somewhat stalkery one. And then I got the call up going, there is a role for you, but you will have to get topless because it's going to involve you stripping. And so obviously I said yes. And I was,
That's my
finally,
job.
all this working out I've been doing can pay up.
No, that was when I immediately hit the gym.
Yeah,
kind of very post-COVID. Yeah, no, that was it. And then they just
what? So they just said,
up.
Did you have to? What was the scene that you had to audition for? Was it the strip?
No, I didn't audition for it.
Oh, you didn't at all.
No,
because they'd already seen you for the other one. Right. So it's straight to an offer for this one. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go.
Couldn't tell you exactly why, because I thought I was doing great. I remember being thrilled about the idea of auditioning to be a gay villain, because I feel like we've gone kind of far enough that I was like, oh, this is really exciting that gay guys can be villains again.
Without it being like, it's because they're gay. Yeah.
It's because they're gay. And you're like, we've got all the positive like representation. Now you can go back to being like a straight up like villain in the background. And I was like, sick. And, but it wasn't to be, but somehow whatever my villain acting gave, it ultimately gave me Rhett.
I'll tell you what, that look, I know this is your interview, but let's just praise Matthew Backer for a little bit. That role was written so creepy, little peering through the bush, and just like there wasn't like it would have been extremely difficult to justify, and Matt jumped through hoops to justify every little detail of that character. He did so much backstory work. And all of a sudden he transformed this creepy character to someone that others could empathize with, because you realize, hey, I kind of get it. This guy's in pain and he's suffering, and maybe I would act out that way. And it was all from that yeah, like maybe you should have taken that role. I don't know, because you could have ended up somewhere better, maybe. But no, okay, the lack of reactions really killing me.
I wasn't offered the role. Yeah.
No, but he did a fantastic job because that role was, to me, it wasn't on paper, it wasn't fleshed out as much as he gave it, which turned into something brilliant.
Yeah, he did great.
Yeah.
So why did you do what you did then, Liam, instead of what Matt
with Rhett?
Yeah, why didn't you make it like a good performance or
make it a good performance? and honestly, that's something I think we could probably spend the entire podcast digging into. It's going to take quite a lot, I think, to kind of excavate that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Matt tried to give me as many kind of acting tips throughout the process as possible, but I feel like
you needed it. That was the thing. You needed it. You were screaming for them.
It's true. Yeah, I was. I genuinely was screaming for them. Sometimes we'd cut, and I would actually just wail.
Help! Give me a choice.
Yeah, just anything, honestly. Yeah, anything. And you're like, just play love, and I was like, oh.
Just play love. Can you just pretend like you love me? That's like really all that this requires.
Gosh.
It's really hard. Liam, I am with you. Matt is a very difficult person to love. So,
that's true. Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough to be given those directions.
We've both been through it. Yeah.
Yeah, we should form a group. We can get Matt Backer in and
true.
What was the name of the guy who played Colton?
Jake, yeah.
Jake in as well, and we'll have our group therapy sessions without Matt.
There's an episode. Great. Well, of course, now I'm dating Jake as well, which is the bet. That's your kind of hot take as well. That I end up dating
open this one up.
Jake, who
yeah.
You're going. Let's open this one up. This is.
Wait. So you two did form a support group after your experiences with Matt, is what you're telling me, and love was found within that.
God.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Of course. The only connection we had was through Matt. I mean, that was the only that's actually continues to be the only kind of binding factor in our relationship. He left for work this morning and I was going, it's going to be okay because, obviously we're going through a lot at the moment, but I'm seeing Matt today and, our relationship's going to be okay. No, we're not actually going through a lot. I promise.
I might ask him for some acting tips and relationship advice at the same time.
Yeah, there's not much we can kind of, because we just talk about you every day, so we're still trying to kind of get some new information.
You call Matt Backer every now and then for his input.
Exactly, yeah.
That was hilarious because at the time, if you remember the throuple storyline, at the time we were accusing each other of having a relationship with Colton. Right?
It's true.
With Colton.
That's right, yeah.
Little did we know, I don't think even I knew at that point, little did we know, you guys were smirking because it was already happening, right?
Yeah, how early on did that happen?
Stage?
Who knows? I mean, we can...
HR doesn't even work there anymore. Say whatever you want.
Don't play coy.
I'm sure there's a bit of interweaving. I think we're very subtle, I think. I can't really remember exactly. But there was definitely some... Yeah, there was a bit going on, I think, in the love triangle, particularly when the audiences were choosing, Team Rhett and Team Colton. So we're kind of being pinned against each other.
When you were being pinned against each other?
When we're being pinned against each other.
That was
comments
a terrible
describing exactly like what
Mind out of the
positive or
gutter.
negative about each other.
Yeah.
Which is very funny. Yeah, even now we sometimes post, like people kind of see us, so we post photos and stuff, and people are like, "Oh, it's so good that you guys ended up being friends."
Yeah, of course.
You've worked it out.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, it is good we ended up being friends. We figured it out.
For you two personally, were you? Did you both agree that you were one team or the other? Or you biased towards your own characters?
I think we were kind of biased towards our own characters, but we also were doing our best to not stoke the fire because neither of us could handle any insults. So we were going like, it was kind of like a truce, like neither of us could afford to have, people shred apart our appearance. So we kind of, we're trying to kind of blow smoke up each other, I think, as much as possible. But I mean, secretly, I think we were both going for ourselves.
Well, you were at least.
Yeah,
You've revealed that much.
Yeah,
we'll have him
Jake
on, and he'll tell a very different story. He's like, "Oh no, we were definitely Team Rhett." Like,
it's probably true. Yeah,
Nothing
it's a very
humble
nice
about
man.
him. So did the storyline come out of you two getting together and you sort of presented it to Jake and you said, hey, what do you think? Should we give it a go?
Yeah, so I actually wrote him a script. Yeah, and I said, do you want
now it makes sense.
Do you want to figure this out? And I was like, oh, it's crazy. In this version, they fall in love in the end. They actually neither of them have anything to do with Aaron. Yeah, I wrote a fake script and I was like, we actually have to act this out off camera.
Have you seen this amendment that I got? I didn't see this
film
coming.
It Monday,
but,
we should practice.
Yeah, quickly. I'm all over the shop about this. Can we just sort of really anchor this one?
Yeah,
in?
I'm really method too. So like, we just have to hook up. Is that okay? Yeah. All right.
It's the only way I'm gonna do good acting.
So without getting into too much detail, was it a single event? Like, was it a night out? Was it a gradual thing? Was it a gradual realization? How did you guys both come together and go, there's something
love
here?
at first sight?
It's a great. I mean, I think we were.
If you can just look down the barrel when you're saying this, it'll be great.
I'm going. I mean, I guess. Well, I think we both were pretty intimidated by each other, which is always a great way to start a relationship. And I think I guess it was like a slow burn, sort of.
Who do you think made the first move?
Who, me?
Who do I think made the first move?
Yeah, not you, not Liam. Yeah.
Who do I think made the first move?
Actually, no, Matty, who do you think made the first move?
Yeah, who do you think made the first move?
Yeah. So this is what I'm picturing, right? You guys are nearby. You go to grab a bite to eat. Maybe you got to lift in at the same time or something like that. I feel like it would have been like nothing too gritty, I don't think. I feel like it would have been a gradual thing. Hey, what are you doing on Friday night? A few drinks, a little slide of the hand, and then straight to a pash. That's what I think.
Was it do you want to run these scenes sometime and get a handle on it? I don't know how many scenes they had together, so
We did have one time where this is crazy. This is TMI. But we did have one time where we did run lines and it was quite funny. We sort of went to each other's house and it was so tense that we barely, like, I just kind of kept laughing and we sort of were looking at each other and laughing and we were going like, so should we do these lines? And it just...
So you both knew what was going on. You're just
and we sort of both kept going like, so you, and we're going, yeah. And it was about 2 hours of us and 2 hours going, all right, well, I guess I'll see you later. And we're going, yeah, I'll see you later. And there was just this, like, so there was probably a while of that. And then
making excuses to be around each other, but neither of you actually doing anything about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was a bit of that where it was like, so why are you laughing? And I was like, I was just finding something funny. And it was like really, it was very tense. Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing this with me, Liam, because it's been a very long time since I've had that kind of attention with someone in a fresh way, let's say, so I can live vicariously through. So I appreciate you sharing.
You sound about 90 saying that. I get it. But it's been so long since anyone's looked at me in a fresh way.
Well,
I remember the day.
It's been 10 years.
I'm with you.
Basically, so, I can't even remember what that feeling is like. So.
Aww.
Thanks for joining us on
it is very specific though, isn't it? I mean, it's like, even our relationship now is obviously we're much further along past that, but there's a very specific quality to that
specific thing. Yeah, I was hearing you say that, I was like, well, that's like a perfect sort of short film, like, because the tension's so there, and like the idea's like been done, but that specific set of circumstances of you meet on a set and then you're trying to figure out ways to hang out with each other, but then you're having these tense moments of, well, is it the characters or is it the us? Am I getting confused
reading this wrong?
Am I reading into your acting, or am I reading into that kind of stuff, which is
totally
that's interesting.
It's very it's funny because these days when people go like, oh, how did you meet? And you're like, it's always like online these days. And it's quite funny to be like, so we were warring love interests on Neighbours. And they're like, that's crazy. Yeah. It's pretty funny. It does feel like a Netflix movie within itself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you won't write it because you're in it, right? So
It's true. I'll have to cast someone else with Jake.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a strange experience. How would you feel about writing a love interest for him? Would that weird you out?
It probably would weird me out. Yeah, I'll have to try it sometime.
Would you like censor it and make it really PG?
Yeah, and I'm making him like the worst person. Yeah, a polite peck. They hug.
They hug.
They go to kiss, but a bird flies through.
Yeah. They
never
so
quite
close.
make it.
Yeah. The whole thing is just tension. You never actually get a resolve because you weren't willing to write the kiss moment. So you just
exactly. They're like, I'm like, I don't think it needs it. I really don't think it needs it. Yeah.
So how was your first kiss with Jake then? I mean, there'd been a lot of tension built up, clearly. So
I think he actually had gum in his mouth, and so it was a whole piece. Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually think I asked if I could have some. That was. So maybe I did make the first move.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'd say that was a
Just
first
so you
move,
know,
for sure.
I'm okay with your saliva.
But it's even a step further than that. Like, I'm okay with something you've chewed on for a while, and that's like sharing someone's toothbrush. That's an intimate act.
Vividly remember someone
really
as a
is,
kid.
isn't
I
it?
remember I had some chewy. Someone said, "Have you got any chewy?" I said, "No, only this bit." I put it in my hand, and I remember some girl picking it up, putting it in her mouth, and going, "Thanks." And straight away,
Wow.
I was like, "Whoa, does that mean something?" Because that's weird. You don't just do that. You really don't just do that.
And also, do
Why
I
are you
want to
still
kiss
staring
someone
at
who
me?
chews other people's gum? Does she do this
Yeah.
to everybody? Like, she walking around pulling the gum off the bottom of the desk and going, "Yum."
Creep.
You said you watch reality. What sort of reality are you watching? Are you watching YouTube or are you watching like actual reality shows?
I watch a disgusting amount of reality TV.
What's your poison of choice?
Honestly, Housewives, Survivor, Love Is Blind, Married at First Sight.
Married at First Sight. That's like, I'm happy to say it because I don't want anything to do with it. The lowest of the low in my mind with like in what they do. And I know people love watching the show, but I can't bring myself to it.
It's insane. I mean, I think the producers are unfortunately. I mean, speaking about how observing human behavior, I think it's like talk about using your powers of that for evil. It's kind of. I mean, I shouldn't say for evil. For whatever you morally decide. But because it's kind of amazing. I mean, it's like it is like an experiment. It's like having. I mean, all of these things are, and I feel like the producers are kind of anonymous. They're invisible in all of this, but actually, like you're kind of concocting storylines out of human behavior,
which is your
which
writer brain,
kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I think it probably is. I'm like, how are you making that? You're managing to make narrative in the way that it would
manipulate people into certain narrative.
Exactly, yeah, and in an episodic fashion without scripting it, but you're producing it.
Amy, my wife, does have a reality show which I won't share yet, but it is
one.
It is well, she's creating it, and it's actually quite good. What clues could I give about it? It is a romance based thing, but
is it a competition?
No, it's more on the side of what's the thing that it's similar to Maths, but the like more international version of it. Love Is Blind. It's sort of on that level, but appealing to a different demographic or a very particular demographic.
4-year-olds.
And that's all. That's what you do with Barry and Penny on this podcast, which is for an update, Liam. If you haven't seen the show, Matt gives updates about his eldest
My 5-year-old
child
has a love
interest, who are codenamed Barry and Penny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Been going through the trials and tribulations, and it's quite revealing to me about me.
About you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You can see yourself making mistakes.
Yeah, lots of chewing gum.
Yeah.
It's a
You're
chewing
like-
gum. So is your ideal thing to write then in this future version I picked of yourself, and you picked a writer? What sort of is he writing comedies, and what sort of comedies are they? Are they rom-coms? Are they like Taika type comedies? Are they where would you like to be? What's your goal?
I mean, I'd like to be able to do lots of things, I guess, wouldn't we all? And I like writing and
pick
making
one
things
thing
and pick
right
one
now.
thing. You get one thing. And
he's so nervous.
Yeah, I'm going. I guess, yeah, I don't know. Well, it's like at the moment I'm writing a musical and I'm working on like a indie feature and a play and whatever. And it's like, it's nice to be doing things that it's like a musical that has, a certain demographic that is kind of broad. And then you can do your kind of like niche comedy things that I enjoy that probably a small pool of people enjoy. And I suppose it's like acting. It's like if you can kind of thread the needle with lots of different things, then I think you're satisfied. To live it back, much like Neighbours, full of lots of different genres. I feel like that is satisfying ultimately. So
you want to be Renaissance man in terms of your
in
writing,
every aspect of my life, I think. Yeah. A Renaissance man. Yeah, I really am coming across pretentious at the moment.
Yeah, we'll cut that bit out for your sake.
Just cut that, actually. Yeah.
Oh. We're not left with much at the end of this.
There's a lot on the cutting room floor.
Oh, brother.
If you can stay together with Jake until this is released, that'd be amazing. Just don't go rocking
Absolutely.
the boat. Don't copy Neighbours' storylines again.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is given a real boost to our relationship. So I reckon we got a good few years out of this, considering we, hung out with you probably 10 times on set, and that's lasted us, about a year. So this should give us...
So it's like a month at a time kind of thing.
Yeah. Can you get him to come on our pod? Would he do that?
I'll do my best. He's really busy, but I'll definitely do my best. I think I've got his phone number. I'll see if I can...
filming this? Is he behind the camera?
Dust it off. I'm going...
Matt is willing to share gum. Just put that out there.
Well, then he's not coming on the pod.
Because he'll take that.
Can you bring something to this podcast, please?
Yeah, reality TV shows. You guys didn't want to talk about that.
I love a below deck. I'm going to put that out there.
Really? Wow. Okay. I'm not as familiar. But apparently it's great.
It is.
Apparently it's an incredible show.
Yeah, we'll get onto it, and then you can come back and we can talk about it. All right.
We can talk about Below Deck. Yeah, great. Yeah, are you guys just going to keep looping through? Yeah. I mean, what happens when you get to the end of? I mean, there's quite a few.
So many
Neighbours cast members. You're just going to keep them going.
No, well, we could talk about this. We're like the idea of the podcast is it isn't Neighbours centric. It is, of course, to begin with, it is in our origins of. Tack and Matt are Neighbours because that's where we met and that's our roles and blah, blah, blah. But realistically, the goal of this podcast is to be an Australian platform for Australian talent and artists rather than the only platforms for this kind of stuff that are at a certain level, being basically the US. And to get on those, you're having to be the top of the A list. So, we want to be able to serve the entire market in Australia as opposed to just the upper echelon who aren't working in Australia anyway. And be that thing, and hopefully people enjoy it, and we'll hear about the gum sharing and
really highbrow stuff.
Wanting to learn Italian, maybe. That's a good summation, right, Matty?
Yeah, I think it's good. We're gonna lose all of our friends soon if we keep asking them to come back for second and third interviews once we run out of Neighbours cast. So yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone said no?
Just you.
There's been postponements for time, or they're going through stuff, but no one said no.
I said that right. No.
There's people
Jacob
who've just
said no.
Not replied, I guess. So that's a no, right? Okay, cool.
In a way, yeah. I don't know. I'm just trying to ask a provocative question, really, sort of.
Oh, you're a trash
Is that
journalist.
what that was?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a shock jock. You guys,
Shock
I
jock.
probably should have told you guys before I came on.
Yeah.
I'm actually the new
That's
Carl
your
Sandilands.
I'm glad that you put that out there because I didn't know that until you just said it. So
yeah, totally.
Maybe you should work on getting that to come across.
Totally.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you gave me a chance.
Or is that the shock? Is that the shock that
the shock?
You don't
is it
know?
At the end?
You don't know that it's a shock.
You don't know I'm a shock jock until right at the end.
At the end.
Yeah.
Thanks, Liam.
Well, thank you for coming on. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had you were the perfect person to sort of run off into the sunset with as both the character you created and the person you are. It's I think it was a perfect fit for Aaron. Let's not get into the nitty gritty about Aaron leaving his own daughter. Yeah, well, you died. All right, Tack. You it would have been perfect, but you decided to die. So there's that. But no, mate, you've taught me a lot. You've taught me to what it means when you laugh at someone a lot now. I'm going to look at that differently looking back. No, it's been an absolute ball, mate, and we'd love to see you again in person when I come down to Melbourne or whatever. And don't forget,
yes,
we're going to be on your show because you won't write yourself in.
But you can write us in. Hello.
I can play you.
Yes. You can play me. Yeah.
Put me across from Jacob again, huh?
That was definitely a no, you're not going to play me.
That's perfect. Yes, it was an absolute pleasure. And it was a pleasure working with you on the show and hanging out with your ghost, Takaya. And yeah, it is a bit of a shame about the Adelaide and the leaving. I actually had some fans come up to me the other day and say, it was such a pleasure, but why did you take Aaron away from his daughter in the end? And it's a great question and one that will sort of still remain a mystery.
Plot holes.
And that's great. Well. Something to still think about. Oh well, that's life.
At the end of the day, love is the ultimate prize. Reward. Thanks, Liam.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Liam. Liam Maguire. That was a fun chat. That was a really fun chat. And if you're watching this live, hit the heart button. Hit the heart button. I want to see all those flying little hearts. It's fun when I see that. But no, that was great and really interesting because I'd actually met him before you, Matt, at a read through of a screenplay that Liam and I have a mutual friend was creating or is creating. So I was pretty excited to hear that he'd got the role because he was great at the read through as well, and such a nice guy. So which I think came across in that chat. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it was. It's always tricky when a character starts on Neighbours because the audience doesn't know the person; they just see the character, and sometimes it's not the most savoury sort of storyline that they get, and they cop a lot of flack online. And I just remember Liam was like reading those comments, going, "Oh, I don't know if everyone likes this situation." Probably because they were still loving David so much, I guess, and wanted the Aaron and David thing to go on forever. Yeah, I know.
That's fair.
I know. They're only human. But now, like the more you get to know someone, the more you realize, hey, this person is my new favorite person in the whole world, way better than David. Sorry, did I go off track then? I did, didn't I? You did well. You kept your temper under wraps. It was very good. I thought you were going to fly off the handle for a minute there.
My jealous arc didn't come out.
Yeah.
I've got a question, Matty. Who would you want on the pod who isn't from Neighbours?
Got a few lined up. I've been thinking. I've been chatting. I've got a few lined up. But typically, I admire someone who is excelling in what they do, right? And it's anyone that can inspire me and inspire others is the most basic way to do it, right? And I, in turn, want to be that person who inspires others to do things as well. Like you're doing something whatever it is, with enthusiasm, you're bound to inspire people. So I really want to find people who are extremely good at what they do, particularly in our industry, because we can have a bit of more of a conversation then. But I just want to find people who are absolutely killing it in whatever they do. And I don't want to spoil it by saying who I've got in mind, but so far all Australian, and we'll see how we go. But I am interested in being inspired.
Yeah, I think primarily we want to keep it to Australians or people working in Australia as much as we can, but obviously that will hopefully expand into the future as the podcast grows, because while our origins are in Neighbours, and obviously we're always going to be connected in some way to that, just because that's how we met, and because of the characters we played. But yeah, I think there's a bunch of people outside of Neighbours as well.
Who have you got?
Well, I don't want to necessarily spoil it, but there's plenty of like friends that I have who are actors as well, or creatives who have done some really interesting stuff that I think people in general will find really interesting, who have some great stories, like actors who have incredible audition stories where they've gotten a role and had to go through so many hoops to get there, or crazy experiences on set, similarly being pregnant on set and those kinds of things, which depending on the environment, you get a different kind of treatment. There's so many friends that I have that have really cool stories that I'd love to share, and I think everyone would find super interesting. So I'm excited as we continue on. Obviously, there's going to be Neighbour stuff in there, but as we start introducing, there's other people as well. It's going to be a cool thing, I think. Yeah, do you have any more updates for us?
No, I think that's it. I'm just never going to answer any more online forms, just in case I'm getting a phishing scam in one way that I don't know.
I'm going to try to delete your old MySpace account.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably still active. Don't know how to get into it, but it probably is.
I don't know. It'd be funny actually to find and see what is on it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, in about a month and a bit, I'm actually going to do my venomous snake handling course, which I believe they put you in a room with a bunch of venomous snakes. You've had a lifelong
experience handling a venomous snake, haven't you?
I was actually took a red belly black snake off the road last night, which is quite a venomous snake, although it was injured on its way out, unfortunately. But no, this is another one. That was a common green tree snake the other day that I posted on Instagram. This is a red belly. Sad to see, but there's a lot of them up here. There is a lot of things that can kill you.
Very dangerous
snake.
Kids,
yes, that's right. And when the kids sort of roam around, I want to be able to be competent in that situation, in identifying them and first aid and how to handle them and relocate them. Also for wildlife. Yeah. Plus, we get a lot of injured sea snakes that when we volunteer, we have to pick them up and take them down to Australia Zoo, which is Robert Irwin's zoo, or Steve Irwin Zoo.
The Irwin's Zoo.
So yeah, that'll be interesting. I'd love to keep you updated on that.
Ooh, I wonder if that was a clue for a future guest, perhaps. Maybe you're trying to build a connection there, are you, Matty? That's not a genuine clue. That's just me pulling something out of thin air. But maybe we'll see.
I owe you a bin joke.
You do. You do.
What do you call when you get like a bunch of baby, when a bunch of baby wheelie bins together? You get a litter. And that is the end of our bin jokes. I think we've exhausted them. We'll come up with something else.
Wait, I clicked the wrong one. I think I want this one. Yeah.
That's the one.
That's one.
The drum roll was good. See you next week, Tack.
See you next bin night.
Ciao.
Ciao.